Hi there, welcome to part 2 of the video series on the first quarter of immigrating with children. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining me today to discuss this topic. Now, part 2 is all about the application of universal laws that I just mentioned in part 1, as well as, practicing love. Now, the first part of the Holy Trinity of love in my world, it's all about thinking love. And what came to my mind when I was thinking about this was actually try and put yourself in the shoes of your kids during the immigration process. Now, I don't mean that literally. I don't mean put your kids' shoes on. Good luck if you're trying to do that. But it's all about the thinking about it, right? So if I was my child right now, what would I be feeling? What would I be thinking? And a couple of contextual matters for you to consider perhaps is the fact that, look, they just moved, so they have a new bedroom, a new bed to sleep in, a new home, new location, new physical surroundings around them, some places that they've never been to, places that they don't know of. They might have no idea where to go to, where the nearest supermarket is, or a little shop where they can go and buy some lollies. They have no idea. The other thing is they have a new school or daycare or place where they get learning and education, right? And with that comes a lot of uncertainty, confusion. They will feel out of place, potentially isolated. Their confidence might really be hit hard because of the fact that this is all new to them. Now, also, there will be new people inadvertently, and that's probably not the right word I'm thinking of, not inadvertently, inevitably, that's it, inevitably, there will be new people in their life. Adults, that's teachers, mentors, people who take care of them, who teach them things, as well as children, new peers. New relationships might be forming, friendships, right? Best buddies, best friends, mates. And the last new thing that came to my mind was actually, it'll be a new family dynamic, right? Whereby, at home there's a certain routine, mum or dad goes to work, siblings, if they have any siblings, go to school. There's a routine to things. And obviously in a new place, during that first quarter, that dynamic might no longer apply, right? Because there's so many changes. My mum and our dad or the guardians may or may not have a job, or if they do, it might be a completely different routine from the morning till the night, whilst everything is settling down and going through that transformational process. So a lot of news happening. And as I speak, I'm just going to get some tarot cards from this wonderful deck that feels a little bit kiddie to me, childlike, given the colours and the animals and the crystals. So I thought it was appropriate for the content of today's video, right? And so I'll just shuffle that as I speak through the next point, which is, you put yourself in your shoes, in the shoes of the kids, and you might be able to resonate with them and relate to them a bit more. And as a result, you may have more thoughts and ideas and feelings as to what you can do as a guardian, as an adult in that kid's life, to support them through the process of the immigration, right? You know your kids best, and you might be inspired to do something, and trust in your feelings, trust in your thoughts as you undergo that process. And the one thing I would always encourage people is to pray for your family, pray for your children, think great positive thoughts to them, send them confidence, send them strength to overcome any obstacles or challenges, make them feel, pray for them to feel more assimilated into the new community that they're a part of, pray for them to get along with their peers in their life, be that new children, new friends, or as well as teachers, a variety of new adults in their life. You know best as to what your kid might need, and just pray for it, because in my world, prayer is an act of love in itself, because you're usually doing it in your mind, in your thoughts. And now, if we jump into speaking love, so if you can, you might be encouraged to pray out loud or think out loud some wonderful words, and that's fantastic, that's great. Don't forget to also say some words of encouragement and support, literally out loud, to your own children. Commend them on going through this journey with you as a family through the immigration. Acknowledge what a huge difference it is, what a huge milestone, and so many changes, occurring at such a fast pace. Acknowledge that, validate their feelings, the fact that they might be feeling anything from the good to the bad, the spectrum of emotions. And just don't forget to say that you love them. I love you, my darling. I love you no matter what, no matter what's going on. And in the family, in your bedroom, behind closed doors, at school, at your place of, clubs, whatever interest your kids might have and you may have signed them up to, a certain club or sport that they might do. Just tell them you love them no matter what, because I know deep down that's the truth. And check in on your children regularly. I do mean that regularly, because you know how to approach your kid best. Obviously, and it depends whether or not they can speak or they can't speak. Yeah, we're talking about children or teenagers. I definitely encourage you to approach your child in the most individual manner. You know your kid best, but a regular check-in, whatever that might mean for your family, and to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and encourage. Use your intelligence as a parent to see if you can confirm for yourself that your kid is truly feeling well and positive, and you can observe that, right? You've been observing your kid ever since they were literally born, or actually maybe there's something going on in the background, something that they may be resisting to speak to you about. So see if you can use your wisdom and intelligence and love, emotions of love, to get some more information out, to get the kids to speak about what is truly on their mind. And the last thing about speaking love is actually, one thing that they could do. A couple of cards fell out, I'll just look at them shortly. And something else that can be done is, if you feel like your child might be feeling homesick, grab your phone out or your laptop out. We've got wonderful technology nowadays to just literally call or video call somebody back home that your child resonates with and is just absolutely loves and adores, right? Grandparents, as an example, if they have a really good relationship with grandparents, or aunts and uncles, cousins, friends, are you able to arrange for a phone call with, the parents of the friends of your children? I'm sure that would put a lot of smiles on your kids' faces for you to, arrange that and do that for them. I think at this point in time, what I want to do is probably just pause for a second and have a look at some of these cards. Yeah, I will do just that. So what we've got here is a couple of cards fell out. We've got the Page of Swords with a nice little flamingo and a couple of diamonds and lightning strike. We've got a peacock with an Ace of Swords and another lightning strike. There's a lot of lightning strikes in these images. Yeah, and so is this one, which is a beautiful swan, Queen of Swords, and the moon behind there. So, interestingly, all of these came out as swords, okay? So the immediate thing that comes, the message that comes through to me is like mental. Swords usually, it's usually a reflection in the tarot deck anyway of things to do with the mind, with the brain. It's your thoughts, energy of air as well. So something that comes to mind is, figure out or use your own intelligence, your own intellect, right, your own mind, to figure out what is going on in the mind of your child. And then, as I mentioned before, you know your kid best and how to approach them to be able to really get the truth as to what is going in the minds of your kids. Given the fact that there's such a huge change that has occurred in their life in the first quarter of the immigration cycle, right? Immigration process. So that's that. Now, the moon and this Queen of Swords just it makes me think a lot about the shadow work. Moon is a lot about the emotions. The moon comes out at night, the darker side of things. So really going in within, once again, what's going on in the mind. But an activity you might want to undertake with your kids is to actually figure out, during play, for instance, when the kids are playing, whatever it is that your kids might enjoy doing, see what's going on inside, ask some prompting questions that may encourage them to speak about what is going on in their heart. Are they truly happy? Are they excited? What are they enjoying about the new place, the new home, the new school? What is something that might not be going so well? Have they had any challenges or obstacles that they may have faced, recently? Ask them to put their hand on their heart if that might work for your kids, to see if they can listen to what their heart is saying, and they might be able to put that into words for you. So that's an exciting thought. What else? So we've got birds here, which makes sense, right? So we've got a flamingo, a peacock, and a beautiful swan. All of them are birds. And I think that actually resonates quite well, because usually, immigration, in your head, you've got these pictures of literally, you're immigrating, you're going from one place to another, right? Across the seas, you're literally traveling somewhere else. So I think it's quite nice that these cards have come through. I'm just going to have a glass of water. Oh yeah, so something I was mentioning about the air. So swords are usually a sign of air. And I might just at this point in time move on with the content into doing love. So the third element of the Holy Trinity of love is doing love. And what I had thought about was walking, and I'm a big proponent of walking, and I mentioned it in my video series for adults on immigration, that it's very important to go out and actually walk to find out your surroundings, where you actually live, what's happening around your home, what kind of places do you have? Do you have businesses, or is it a lot more residential? So the more communities, more families out there. If there are businesses, what kinds of businesses? Is it more to do with, industrial works, cars, tires, anything else in the industrial world, or business commercial world? Or do you have a lot more cafes, family friendly places where we might be able to hang out and do something fun together? Do you have parks nearby? And this is what takes me to the air point, is get out, get some fresh air, walk around your surroundings with your kids, explore, go on an adventure. You can premise it to your kids as if we're going on an adventure, we're going to discover what's around our home, and what kind of places and what kind of people are around here, what kind of community actually lives here around us. And depending on the age of your kids, it's always a fun thing to find a playground. If your kids are a little bit younger, who doesn't love a playground, right? It's the best for activity out there. So seek out a park, seek out a neighborhood playground, so that kids can go and have some fun, as well as meet other kids. That's how you start developing those social relationships and connections and bonds. And you might even be able to meet some adults, right, and make friends with those adults in your community, and that will actually encourage you on your immigration journey. Something else, thinking about walking around your neighborhood, but you might want to consider if you have any nearby activities that your kids enjoy or your family has enjoyed when you were back home. Do you enjoy movies? Maybe a trip to the cinema is on the cards. Do you enjoy having live action, theater, opera, ballet? That might be, like a cultural thing happening around where you live, or you might need to travel a little bit to get to such a place. Is there a theme park nearby that you can take your kids to get some fresh air and really, enjoy themselves, have fun, break through the innovation and the newness of the newness of everything and some of the emotions they might be feeling, to turn those into feelings of excitement, happiness, joy, memories, creation of memories in a new place. That might be nice to do. Anything else from these cards? Yeah, so this peacock and the fact that they've got such beautiful tails, right? When they really spread them out, it's such just glorious, glorious colors and beauty colors. And the immediate thing that comes to my mind is just the variety of choices and the actual huge number of choices of what one could do. And perhaps this is the ability for you as a parent or a guardian in the kid's life to actually realize that a new country, a new place, overseas, is an opportunity for personal growth and development, right, for every single individual. And something you can do is actually immerse yourself in the new culture, in the new language, in new traditions, new customs of that area. And the spectrum is huge. Just like the peacock's tail, there's so much beauty in each particular part of the tail, I suppose, in each feather. There's beauty in the one, and there's also huge beauty in the collective and of them all. And being in a new place, you have so many choices, so many new things you could do, that every single one of them is amazing, and all of them are even more so. So it's just a matter of thinking through, what are the opportunities in the place where you're at for you to go down a particular path, and take your kids on their journey with you. Think about hobbies and interests. As I mentioned, you may have signed them up already. You may consider signing them up to play some sports, whatever it is that they like, football, rugby, tennis, netball, golf, swimming, whatever it is that your kids were into. Might be a great opportunity to keep that continuity going, and that way they will feel like there's some kind of familiarity in terms of the activity, in terms of what they're doing, which resonates to what they did back home. And ultimately, I guess, play dates, actively perhaps seek out from the other new adults in their lives, teachers, for instance, mentors, coaches, who your kids resonate with in terms of other kids. Are there any relationships that are forming, and see if you can invite them over, and invite the friends over for like a play date or sleepover. Get to know the parents of the other kid, and actually sometimes those things happen naturally, but sometimes you just gotta put a little bit of intention behind that and actually actively seek out that information. And you can do that obviously via adults in the kids' lives, teachers, mentors, coaches. I'm sure they'll be happy to suggest who to get in touch with or who to contact in order to create more love for your kid as a result. So on that note, I'm going to stop right there, and we're going to jump into part 3 of this video series. See you shortly.